Recently, a piece of news was released which left our country in shock. This was the Global Hunger Index of 2019, which ranked India 102nd out of 119 countries. And what was all the more surprising was that India was ranked below certain countries such as Nepal, Bangladesh, and even Pakistan. The Global Hunger Index is a system of ranking which is issued by an organization known as the International Food Research Policy Institute, which ranks certain countries on the basis of various socio-economic factors and not just hunger or starvation that is commonly misconstrued by a number of people. So today we at Indian Folk went around asking the youth specifically as to what they think the Global Hunger Index essentially signifies and what is their take on India's position on this ranking scale. So, as you know, recently the World Hunger Index was released, where India ranks 102nd out of 117 countries, which portrays India in a somewhat negative light. So, firstly, what do you think the Global Hunger Index essentially is?
So it's basically the same like the HDI, which ranks the country in terms of your hunger alleviation. So there's I think a lot of factors that play a role as well. So there's I think the employment which is very important. Then there's the food which is provided. If there's the food quantity is less in the country, so of course there will be supply of food is less, so there will definitely be a demand more, and but there I think also there's people suffer from that as well. So there's socio-economic factors that play a role. So there is also malnourishment that goes on definitely more highest part in Africa, where people suffer from posture a lot. They suffer from posture a lot. So that's why they have these protruded ribs. The babies have these protruded ribs at a very tender age of about 2 or 3. And this is what I've read, and I've also seen, since I'm an economics student, like I studied economics, so this is what it is. But then I think the hunger index is basically trying, I think, to tell that from my consideration, that the developed countries are in the top stream, where they are trying to alleviate this poverty and this hunger alleviation. They're trying to delineate this, whereas I think the countries in between and which goes further less down in the line, I think they have more problems of hunger, where the demand for food ranks more in these countries. So I think this is what it is. This is my perception. I mean, of course.
So, actually, we've seen that India has ranked 102nd out of 117 countries right now, bringing it very close to countries like Nigeria and Sierra Leone. However, it was found that with the accession of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, India's ranking has come down a lot, considerably. Earlier it was 55 out of 79. So, what do you think, does politics have a major role to play in the socio-economic indicators of country? Or do you think that the accession of Prime Minister Modi did indeed have a major part to play in this ranking that India country has faced at this point?
It definitely does. The kind of prime minister or the government we have, it does play a very important role in what we get to experience, or the things that goes around in the country, or the things that's happening in the country. So yes, after the succession of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, things have changed, and I think in this particular area, I think he has done a good job. So
I don't know whether he's done a good job or whether he's not.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, because if we take into consideration the Kashmir issue at present, the abrogation of 370 has induced where people from Kashmir, they have started blocking people from Jammu bringing in apples. So they do bring in not only just apples, they also bring in food from Jammu to Kashmir, because Kashmir has always been under siege from about, I think, more than 37 years. It's just like independence was more than 50 years, 70 years it's been. So, and Kashmir has always been under siege, and and this has never happened before, that people from Kashmir are now have boycotted food goods, particularly from Jammu, and it's difficult to see this. But after the abrogation of 370, also people they don't see whether they're hungry or not. It is also about politics because after whatever they are thinking that the Narendra Modi government, I'm sorry, I'm very against it, but the government is thinking that we should take the Hindus in our side, the Hindus in our favor. The Hindus also thought the same, that we will vote for these people. But what happened? The table have turned, and people have voiced. The Hindus, especially in Jammu, has voiced their opinion against Modi, saying that their trade and communication has gone down, the trade and commerce has gone down, the food supply has gone, the demand is getting more, but the supply is there, but still people do not wish to take it because they have ego. So Kashmiri people, they do not really want to take take their goods from Jammu, which is a very good, which is a provider for food to Kashmir. So yeah, I mean, politics is there. Where isn't politics? Politics is just in our kitchen itself. So yeah, knife and forks have politics. So if two chopsticks have politics as well. Politics is everywhere.
It's a matter of pride for them.
Yeah, it's a matter of it's a matter of ego basically.
Ego,
Like they
yeah.
do not wish to take it from there because after the abrogation happened, the people from Kashmir are suffering more. They don't have trade. They're not getting connected. They're not getting network. But people in Jammu, they are. So what is the thing? They at least are getting network. They're getting to people. They're getting to communicate with their people, their relatives from outside who are living in Delhi or the other states. But these people are not in Kashmir are not. So that is why, and I think it's fine. It's more than fine actually to boycott goods from Jammu. I think it's good. And Hindus should really realize the fact that where we are voting. See, where voting is concerned, please think of practicality because practicality matters. You have to see the present situation, the reality of India. The reality of India does not want a pro-Hindu state. We are a secular nation. It's in our constitution. And if you want a theocratic politics, please mark it in the constitution because we are an unwritten one, right? So you can change it anytime.
What do you think the Global Hunger Index essentially stands for?
So the Global Hunger Index is basically a system of ranking for countries, which takes into consideration various socio-economic factors such as infant mortality, child wasting,
Yeah.
child stunting, and malnutrition.
Right. Alright. So, the second question that I want to ask you is that India has been ranked deplorably low on this particular index, being ranked 102nd out of 117 countries, right? So, what do you think is a particular reason for this situation, and as to what the current government can do to eradicate these certain social evils that are gripping the country indefinitely?
See, according to me, the government has a lot of power, but it's power being wasted because they haven't really kept to their promises. The government has made many promises when they came into power, but they haven't really executed anything. Like recently, we conducted a survey from ICAF in the villages, and we found out that they have this program right for 100 days of work, and they get a payment according to that. They haven't been called for 100 days of work. They've only been called for like what 30 days, and they haven't been called after that. So they're not getting to work more, and because they're not getting to work more, they can't get paid more. So they're just sitting, and they're not getting any money for it.
Right.
So if the government doesn't step up, then I really don't know what's going to happen to all these people.
Absolutely. So, what do you think the Global Hunger Index essentially is?
So the global hunger index, I believe I'm not entirely sure, but it's comprised of many factors, mostly the poverty, malnutrition,
Yeah.
mostly infant mortality. Yeah, so they take into a lot of factors, other factors as well. I guess they even should take income also as a factor. They could take income as a factor. And they form an index to show if whether children or even not just children, people in general are getting enough to eat or are meeting sustenance or is above the poverty. No, you can't say that, but still, if they are malnutrition or not. Basically, I guess that's it. I mean, the hunger index helps you figure out which countries are relatively on the verge of needing help to help their people come out of hunger.
Absolutely. So the second question that I want to ask you is that since India has been ranked very deplorably in this index, being ranked 102nd out of 117 countries, what do you think are the reasons for this particular ranking? As to what are these socio-economic factors that have led to this state of affairs?
So, see, India is a big country, right?
Right.
And it has a huge population. That has been one of the major issues, and the huge inequality, which is quite apparent in Calcutta also. I mean, you have on a street, there would be the rich people, and the opposite side of the street, you could see people who are homeless and hungry who haven't had a meal in the entire day. You have seen people like that. So, inequality is one major issue there. Lack of jobs, lack of education, illiteracy is a huge factor. Without jobs, you can't afford a job, right? If you do not have in a proper education, usually you don't get jobs, and people have been trying to migrate from India to other places in search of jobs, but it's not possible for them if they do not have the enough resources just to even migrate. See, they need, if they do not have the enough resources to migrate, or if they do not even have the resources to find food for themselves, how are they expected to rise above anything? I mean, if they want to see, people who can afford school are the ones who can afford to be hungry. No, I mean, see, if people can't afford to be hungry, they can't go to school. If they have to work in order to sustain themselves for the day, they can't have an education, right? So illiteracy is one major factor. Overpopulation is a huge factor. Inequality is one of the biggest factors ever. So I guess that more issues are there than the socio-economic. If you're looking at social factors, there are the caste discrimination, the discriminations that come across where people are not given jobs. Discrimination, especially when it comes to women, and the lower caste discriminations that a lot of people are denied jobs or opportunities that they could have had to help them sustain themselves and their families. So I guess that is one major issue. Then the lack of reach of technology or lack of reach of any resource for that matter to remote places of India. India, as before I said, India is a pretty huge country, right? So there are plenty of remote places where people don't even know the existence of the outside world. I mean, there are people who are living in wastelands, dumblands, who have settled in municipal dumblands. I've visited places like those and I've seen this. See, these people, what they trying to do is they're trying basically sustain themselves for the day. They're living day by day. So it doesn't help the country have a good index, hunger index. It makes sure that if they do not have income, basically income, if they do not have money to afford food, it makes them, go hungry, and that lowers the index in any.
Right. So the last question that I want to ask you is whether politics does have an important role to play in this categorization or this ranking, because we see that with the accession of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2014, the ranking has indeed come down from 55 out of 79 countries to 102nd out of 117 countries. So do you think this has a role to play in this particular ranking?
See, if it's Narendra Modi or let it be Rahul Gandhi, it doesn't matter. Politics has a huge part to play in it. See, whoever is in power has the power to bring about policies that can either be helpful or detrimental to the society, right? So if the current, I wouldn't say the current government has brought about a lot of policies that aren't, let's say, popular among the people, which would have helped them. If a lot of policies that they could have done, they could have brought about a lot of plans that could have done that would have helped people, but it has ended up detrimental, right? So yeah, the government has a huge role to play. People vote people to power, vote ministers to power, so that they hope that these people who they, with their right of vote, when they vote them to power, they hope that these people will help them. But if the government isn't bringing about policies that actually help the people, then I mean, if they're only, again, before I said about inequality, if they're only helping the upper class, the rich class of the people, it doesn't help increase the index. See, these people, the rich people, helping them, it doesn't increase the index at all, because they have already enough money to sustain themselves, and they don't come in factor to the hunger index, right? In such a huge population of India, such a big country, and such inequality when it comes to like that, majority of the population is hungry, while some of the population, the minority, the upper class, have more than what they need, and what they need and what they deserve. In fact, a lot of, and the tax reductions that are getting, the interest rate that are being reduced for them. See, all of these factors come into play, and then there's a policy. Let's say, see, remember the statue that was built, right? The huge statue. People have been criticizing about it. You can see it in both ways. I mean, people say it created jobs, so it helped people get out of misery. But people who can afford jobs are the people who are actually have, see, it's construction work, right? You need to be healthy to do construction work. If you have been hungry for the last an entire year, you're definitely not healthy enough to do construction work. So the people who got into construction are the ones who are able to afford that, right? So the people below that, what do they have an opportunity? No. So the government should have brought about other policies that help these people. And Abhijit Banerjee, the one who got the Nobel Prize, has criticized this also. He has exactly said giving money to the poor doesn't make them, you know, use that completely to please that money by luxurious consumption. No, they try to use it in a manner that helps them only. So the government has a huge role to play in it, but I don't think, say, I don't think the government has looked
Done
into the
enough.
matter
Yeah.
enough.
Thank you. Most of the people that we interviewed today were more or less aware of the fact that the global hunger index is calculated on the basis of certain indicators such as child mortality, child wasting, child stunting, and undernourishment. However, what was commonly found out was that people are generally disenchanted with the kind of social and economic problems that are gripping India and these issues that India needs to grapple with very soon. One thing is definitely certain that India has a long way to go before it achieves its dreams to stand at par with other developed countries in the rest of the world. So for more such informative videos on various social, economic as well as cultural issues, please stay tuned to our channel Indian Folk.